Hello and welcome, as today's date comes in that of the 28th day of July 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel where, like always, all bets, trades, and the like are within each's own risk and their own reward. For myself, risk-reward management is always job number one. And in this video, Fibonacci Calculations is what I'm going to be going over, and a bonus one will be this Bitcoin, but the main one that I want to look at is silver. It's going to be a raw one. I don't even know what the numbers are going to be, but I do realize there's a high near 26 and it's retraced a bit since that point. And I'm going to talk about the silver market more in depth, little in depth within, or not as much within Bitcoin. But Fibonacci, I'm looking for key high and key low. So I've seen that the market has had this magnificent run higher. So I got this key high and I have this key low. It has already retraced this much. So the retracement that I'm going to be looking for is from this high to this low. And I realize if I go like 15-minute time frame, I'm going to see it a little bit better. So let's calculate the numbers. It's high divided by low. I have a calculator that will do it for me. And therefore it is, sorry for that beep, that's my cell phone, not your text message, if that's what you're thinking you heard. Because I think it was right beside my microphone, so you probably would have heard a little bit. Although my volume on my phone is lower, so it shouldn't be too loud. Not enough for me to redo the video. Okay, 11,395 is the high. So I'm going to open up my spread, my program that I made. So it's 11,395 divided by the low. And the low in this market here is 10,565. So therefore, key numbers, a small little, 10,755 would have been more relevant on, say, a 4-minute time frame. And it really didn't do too much here at all. And that's no surprise. It would get to the next level relatively well, which was 10.0875, and let's just throw in a line on this one. Close enough, and it consolidated amongst that point for a little bit, and then just for that little bit then really went up nice, and obviously resisting the 61.8, breaking through it now, which is in that 11,071. And it's a miss, I think, maybe not, but I mean, it kind of is, actually. I mean, and I'd say that only because it usually pierces extra. I mean, but you can see it comes up to this point now. We see how it supported this on this last hour, that it looks as if, and how close was this to the 76.4 at 11,173. 11.1, and another pierce less, 20 points lower. But it's still amongst that area, breaking out above that. Now you're expecting to match the previous high, which is in there. So that's the Bitcoin information. Now let's look at that of silver. And silver's at $24 and change, most likely. I haven't looked at it like 40 minutes. At 24.37. Does this have lines on it already? If not, then I can put lines on here. Yep. So the high to, and it looks like it's obvious. This low, which I call the Rudy Gobert lows, as well as the high that was established today. Or yesterday, whatever. $26.28 was the high. And because this automatically rounds, I'm going to just leave the pennies in it in this form here. Or else if I put 26.28, it will just give me even numbers, and that won't do me any good. Okay, so the low on here, I mean, 1164, just crazy. That was the price several weeks ago. So therefore, 76.4 is the first number that I'm looking at on the way down, which is $21.68. And it hasn't even came close to that number yet. Which means I guess we're going to be using a spreadsheet and calculations, because I didn't go as far on my spreadsheet to write, hey, how about if I want numbers that are higher than that? But for now, I'm going to put in the next three numbers, which is the 23.6, 38.2, and the 61.8% retracements. And I guess, yeah, we'll do that for now, because I'll get the exact same numbers when I do my spreadsheet in just a little bit. So 2168 is the first one. Let's put a horizontal ray in at that level. And then the 38.2% down, which represents 0.618 on the calculation, 61.8% on the way up from low to high, is that of 19 and a quarter. And if the market breaks above those highs of $26, then all these numbers would slowly rise with the new math. And I'll just use that line for this one here, which would now be 1589. But again, I'm going to have to do a spreadsheet if I want to calculate some of the numbers above it, and I kind of do want to know what they are. So let's go ahead and do that. And what I like about Fibonacci is it coincides with another one of my favorite mathematical aspects, which is binary. Binary is 0 and 1. So let's just start with those two numbers. And Fibonacci is simply just add the previous two numbers of the binary. So equals this number plus this number. And that's going to be 1. And if I just keep on copying, pasting that, there's your Fibonacci sequence. And these numbers are going to get relatively big. I mean, yeah, you can see the plus 58. That's how many digits there basically would be. And if I do something like equals the number, like this number divided by this, then I'm going to get 1. But that's going to change, and it'll work its way higher and lower, or lower from the highs and higher from the low numbers, to 1.6180339. So we got 1 2/3 here, 1 3/5, 1.625, and 1.615, and 619, 617. Here we are at 618. There's the 0339 right there, and it's just going to continuously get towards where the key number happens to be. And that's just to make sure that, whatever, it's just to do for fun. I could just put in 0.618 or 0.61834, whatever. It's all going to work the same. But just an idea of how these numbers work, I think, is a good idea. Now, if you go something like, say, this divided by, say, this, two numbers before it, we would get 2.615, but that's going to work out to 2.618 in time, most likely. And as stated. And this, therefore, the one before that should be 4.23. If I do 3 numbers before it, of course, it would work out to that in time. There's 4 1/4. And there's a 4.23. So if I do something like, say, how about this divided by, say, the 89 number, what am I going to get? Oh, there's a 38.2. Okay, well, that's now divided by A13 would give me 23.6, then would it not? And the answer is correct. We've already done that one. So the one that I'm looking for is this one here, which is the 14.5. I'm just going to copy and paste this down a bit more. And does it make any difference which one I use? The answer to that, for the most part, not really. So I'm going to copy this and just paste special here, because I'm going to need to use that number. Actually, 1 minus that number, but. And then we'll do it again. Say this is divided by 28. Let's divide it by 29. That would give me 9.01. So let's paste special that. And then let's do a couple more. We got 50557. And paste special means whatever the number is what it's going to do, meaning it's not going to take the formula. And the final one is this. So I'm going to need to the root of 1 minus this number. So I'm going to go equals, well, 1 minus this, and that will be 85.4 change. And so on and so forth. So back to the market, we can go to the high and the low again. The high is 26.27, oh, 26.20. I'll use the exact same numbers I did before. So I'll just put it somewhere, 26.28. And then a low of 11.64. So the differential of the move, because it's high divided by low, is going to be like 2.3-ish or so. 2 1/4. So 2 1/4 to the root. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm trying to get the equal. I push the thing beside it. Equals this to the exponent of this. I'm just going to put in, yeah, I'm going to go, so I know I'm going to copy and paste this. And then I2, when I paste this down, will all work. And I'm just going to do this low. And the dollar signs mean if I copy and paste, it's got to do with the dollar signs before both the K and the number, although technically I only want to protect the number for this example. And we'll put this into 2 decimals. And we'll make the fonts bigger. Okay, so the next key number, 2334 above it, which we haven't even got to there yet. Or have we? No, I don't know. We'll see. So let's put this to the 3 hour. Nope, it didn't come down there, so this number would be somewhere up here. So up here, it didn't come close on this one. So if this key level of support doesn't go through, we'd be looking at like 21.5 or so, I would think. And that's only in the key if situation. It needs, and you're using a time frame like this, getting above the 18 average of highs is like 25 low change, even 25 even. Yeah, 25, breaking 25. Then you'd be looking for, okay, now we're looking at weak resistance at 26 1/4 amongst this time frame, which is anywhere like the 1, 2, 3, 4 hour time frames. And even 30-minute time frames as well. So that would be as I'd be seeing. That's when we're back to the spreadsheet. And we have the next one will be 2442, which is pretty much where we're at now. And I'll just keep it at that line. I kind of want to move it just like this. And at this stage, these numbers are nothing more than current short-term numbers worth deleting once you either start breaking down below or, of course, you make new highs then. And you could be doing Fibonacci from this high to this low as well on the way up as other ways of doing it too. Of course, there's 2 ways of using short-term levels, that being one of them, this high and that low, and this one just being these microscopic Fibonacci numbers. Next one on the next micro would be 25 now something. It would be 2511. And I really don't think I need to do another one. And again, 2511, that's an interesting number because as I mentioned, that's the number it needs to break. So I think a break of this 2511 would be even more accurate, especially because it's noticeably lower from this high. So let's now take a look and see how these numbers. There was no support at the 2511, and then it supported in between. So it did resist it though. So that in itself, when you look at statement of what Fibonacci means, okay, you didn't support here, which tells you, okay, are you now going to next level? Which of course answer is yes. And you did so via that resisting, piercing extra on this 2330 stamp. And right now I'd be having headaches using these Fibonacci levels. So the ones that I'd be using would be the highs and the lows. So let's just, we have a low of 22.46. And the high is 26.25, I think. 26.28. So the first number on the way up would have been 23.31, which coincides with this number in here. And we can see when we look at this on the shortest term time frame that I have, that it did resist at piercing this Fibonacci level extra at 23.31, and then successfully correcting within the 18. So this is the first time on the downtrend since this big plummet move. And just to get perspective of this retracement, because I want to talk about this move also, given if if you want $40, $50 soon, you want this big volatility, this is an amazing retracement. I would have to believe anyway. So with that being said, here's 2.1% down in just this minute alone. And then a small minute here where it loses 0.5% at 3:36 a.m. New York time. And then 1.7% the next minute. 1.19 the minute after that, and then 1.7 the minute after that. How do you do? But I'll talk about that perspective of why this could be magnificent, this down move, if you're looking for big prices. I'm even throwing aside just trading this on the day trading level and getting kick-ass volatility. I'm talking about, well, anyway, I'm talking about the fact that it's probably got a good chance of having some interesting moves moving forward. So there's 23.30 was resistance and then broke above it. After that, we have 23.85. So you know what? I'm just going to remove these ones because I don't care about these ones. But I do below that. So let's just put in 23.85. Which of course we can see resisting well. And then the other big one in the day is 24.75. It should be somewhere near there. I'll just leave it at, I can reduce it a tick. What a difference. Alrighty then. I don't know if I ever would have said alrighty then like that if it wasn't for Jim Carrey back in the day, which is, I think, from Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. I can't remember how much it was said before then at a normal level. With that being said, going back to this in here, so we've seen on, so this thing to me, this move looks as if it's, like we see a good minute here. It, to me, it looks as if we should be hitting this 24.75 number from this point on. And then what we do at this level, it's going to be very, very big and even maybe pierce that, could even pierce to the 25. But it still has to get above this to clearly tell me that this move is a failed one. And when I see this and then lifting from like 25, and that tells me what I already did on the outset. So as far as this move is concerned, within silver, and because of those Fibonacci lines, I'm just going to now use this one. If, of course, this move breaks through and goes high after this with this volatility, that means the breakout on this is going to be pretty large. And I can now, I'm even thinking in my head, what Fibonacci upside? How do I calculate that? And I'm actually trying to think of how I do that, because that's a very interesting question. Maybe from these breakout lows and do a 38.2. I guess I could do a short-term level, which would be easiest to do. Which I'm thinking, just a quick rough estimate. $28.5. Ballpark, that makes sense. I'd be about 28.5 if it breaks that resistance. If, of course, we can see in here, you leave the 18 average of highs, you have this correction, you do eventually get above this 26, then the next key move would be in that 28 point. And the one thing that I mentioned is we probably should come up and at least test this number. And technically, it just means, I think it's pierced, it says 2610, so it kind of technically has now. So the lows from this very first level, and I should have memorized that because back in the day, that number hit all the time. There we can do 2619 again. And then this low, I think, was 2614. So it hit 3 exact times. So the 3 times that it hit this, it has practically hit the exact same number. Technically more. But even at that stage, we're not even close to 1%. I guess you can think that it's still going to come down to this. And I know I might as well redraw the lines in here. That's the, why did I even check for that? $49.81. That one I did have memorized. And then the $11 here. $11.64. So we have the 1640, which is way back when. 2020 is almost way back when, but that's where, of course, we just broke out from. So I like to just draw the lines from where the lows are. And you can see that there really is no resistance at 2028. So the fact that it is perplexed to the level fast should come as no surprise. But even here it says the next number is 2858. So that coincides with the last 2850. Very quick calculation that I've done. And we're not even close to that. We still got another $2 and change from the high. And of course from the 24 level. I'm not believing this sell-off at all. And if it sell-offs further, I'm not believing the further sell-off. Of course, we'll see in time if I'm right. I said a long time ago, yeah, well, by the way, these prices are last call for these cheap prices. Yeah, they're higher now. That's just how it is. Okay, $28 and what's the number? 58. 28.58. So that's the next key level. What we do here, I don't know. You could resist it. We could expand further. I just know that if it expands further, it's probably going to hit the 61.8 like it's no tomorrow. And the 61.8. Actually, that is a 61.8. The 76.4 like it's no tomorrow. 35.34. So it is saying it's going to hit the 61.8 like no tomorrow. 35.34 then after that. And we might as well do some upside. I've already done this before. It's like 120, 150 or so. Okay, what do I want to do for upside here? I could do the high. I could do this here, but what's the upside here? It's probably not right. It's 122, actually. It's what I got. Maybe it's what I'm remembering. And maybe it's just going to coincide with the same. But I want to do $4 low and $50 high, and I want to find out what the 38% number is. It's $4 low, isn't it? Yeah, 4. And that's why I did it this way. So I can see the numbers that way because of the rounding. So 1050. 130. So on the break of 150, I would expect there to be a clear, concise move to the $1.30 number. And as it goes, when you look at from point A, which is 2011 high, as well as point A 1980 high, just to happen to coincide to be the exact same thing, then moving in uncharted territories for the first time since the 1970s would see us have next key level at 130. Thank you for tuning into today's video and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.